Hi, I'm Eric from Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com, and this is our 2018 Husqvarna FE 501 build. So this is our FE 501 build. You guys might have seen the other videos where we actually compared the KTM 500 EXE to this one when they were brand new. And when I was choosing between the two, which one I was going to keep for the year and do a build, I decided on the Husky Gal. So that was over 1,200 miles and over 55 hours ago. So this is more almost like a long-term test. So the standout, or probably the most important revelation from spending time with this bike, is how absolutely versatile it is. And you know, maybe a little bit of a spoiler alert is that it's not just one build that's going on here. You know, you have the stock bike that's comfortable and plenty powerful and quiet, and then you go on to I wanted to set it up for local desert races. And so we uncorked it a bit. We got the suspension done, so we made it so it was better for desert racing. And then also for gnarly trail riding. We like to spend a lot of time on this single track. And then on top of that, we wanted to go hit some works races. And so that's what, almost 4 different bikes right there that you basically get out of this one bike. So let's get right at it. So first off is gearing. Stock gearing is 1445, just way too tall for serious off-road. So we changed it. We went with primary drive components, went to a 1350, so it gives us a really low first gear and still a respectable tall 6th gear. So the next item is basically the handling and suspension. So stock suspension, although it was really supple and comfortable, it was just a little too soft for my 205 pounds at race pace out in the desert. And so we're friends with Dick's Racing, and he's always been known to be able to keep some of the supple or even make it more supple and still have it resist the bottoming on the big G outs and the big whoops. And so we, of course, we had to spring up a little bit to get to that point. So fork springs, we had to go up, and also the rear spring, we had to go up as well for my weight. And combined with the valving, it's exactly what we wanted out of this bike. Now, to go with the handling, I always put a steering stabilizer on my bike, especially for the high speed, but it just makes it more comfortable and it makes it more relaxing. So we've got the Scots and BRP combo. So it's an underbar. The BRP is actually a cushioned top mount. And then one more little thing we put on there is we have a clean speed little piece that keeps the throttle cables out of the stabilizer so they don't get pinched. Now, the underbar mount actually raises the bars just under an inch. And normally I like a little bit taller bar, but on this bike, I wanted to get back down to the stock height. And so I went with the Pro Taper Contour in the Universal Low, and it's a really low bend. And so by the time you get out to the end of your handlebars, you have the same height as stock. I mean, so the bar height's relatively unchanged. So moving on to the fuel. So the stock tank didn't quite give me the range that I wanted. And so we threw this Acerbis 3.0 gallon tank on it. And when I first pulled it out of the box and looked at it, I was a little scared because the stock tank's all nice and smooth up here at the top. And this has this whole thing hanging out off. And to be honest, I don't even notice it. I don't think I've noticed it once. A couple things I do like. I definitely like the filler. It's a little easier to operate. I think it's a bigger opening. So when you're trying to make those quick fuel stops during the races, it's easier to fuel up. And then when I'm trail riding or just off having fun, I don't have to stop as much. I don't even have to worry about my fuel mileage. So it's actually just a win-win. All right, protection is a big deal. So we have the P3 carbon fiber skid plate. It is super light, super sexy. I have definitely bounced it off the rocks, and it's got some marks and some bruises and some chunks missing out of it, but it's definitely done its job. I mean, that's why you get carbon fiber, right? It's strong, it's light, and it looks good. That's really all we want. So, and then also on these Linkage bikes from Austria, the linkage really hangs down low sometimes, and so you get caught up on rocks and logs. And so we put the Tusk linkage guard on it, and it's a UHMW. It slides, glides right over the rocks and logs. It's got a really low friction coefficient. And then handguards. I've got to have handguards, wraparound handguards when I ride. And these are the Tusk D-Flex Pros. They're fairly new, they've been redesigned, they're easier to mount, a bigger shield on them, a little bit more room for your hands. Very tough, very durable, definitely the way to go. So now moving on to swapping out some of the less durable street legal bits. So, you know, as we said before, it comes totally street legal stock. For off-road, we need to maybe downsize some of those things. And so starting up front, in the handguards themselves, we actually have some, the front blinkers are definitely in the handguards. They're small, very durable. Out back, we just put some of our Tusk flush mounts in. Speaking of the whole tail light, you know, the stock OEM one's just this huge, big tail light piece with a huge license plate mount and everything else, and those get broke off really easy. And so actually these are all OEM components, and it comes off a TE 2-stroke model. And so we've actually put it into a kit, so you don't have to go through all the OEM diagrams and get it all. You can just go to our site, put it in your vehicle, look up tail light, you'll find it. But it's way more slim, and I really like the durability of the OEM parts. Now, for some reason, the gents in Austria, I just don't know if they don't think we like to ride our bikes after the sun goes down, or what the purpose for the stock headlights are, but every KTM Husky I've had, the stock headlight just isn't enough. And so we went to Baja Designs, and we have their Squadron XL Pro. Goes right inside the stock headlight mask, and it is flat, unreal how much light comes out of this thing. So definitely the way to go. So I took the towing mirrors off this. The stock mirrors are huge, great big huge mirrors, and looking for different ways, different mirrors to put on it. Ned over at Double Take Mirrors, he says, hey, I've got this new trail mirror for you to try. And so I'm like, great. So he sent it over, and I pulled it out of the package, and I'm like, there's no way this thing's gonna work. But in reality, it works great. It's really small, it's really durable, it's out of the way, and I mean, it's perfect for what we need. So now on to race numbers. So if you're gonna race, you gotta have race numbers. And so the guys at Attack Graphics took good care of us, as you can see. So it's got the full set on it. I don't know, I think they just look sharp. And then also from Attack is we have the Attack Graphics seat cover. And it's on these big 4-strokes, I've kind of gotten into the pleated design. It really does help when you start getting tired, keeping you where you need to be. Now onto the wheels and tires. So there's nothing worse than getting all the way out to a race and getting down the start straight and getting a flat tire, or traveling for hours to get to your favorite riding area and end up with a flat tire. And so we're running the Michelin Bib Moose foam inserts. Don't have to worry about flats ever again. You can hit sharp rocks as hard as you want to. I'm also running the Dunlop MX3S tires front and rear. And while we were there, we threw a set of the Tusk Impact wheels on it. They're super strong and they look great. So the white hub, black spokes, it's one of my favorite things about this bike. So keeping with the versatility of what we had planned for this bike, the Lex MXE exhaust is perfect for it because it has a totally tunable end cap. So say you want to go riding in the morning, and so you're going to be up in the mountains, you need to be quiet, responsible. We have actually a Trail Saver end cap that takes the decibels way below stock, makes it nice and quiet, And then say in the afternoon you want to go down and hit the track, you can open it all the way up, have a race tip in it, and say you want to be somewhere in the middle, say you want to, maybe you don't want to be that loud all the time, you're getting old like me, can't handle all the loud noise and the peeling out, the burning rubber. I don't know. We've definitely got something in between as well. So speaking of the track, we'd kind of heard about a few mods for closed course racing. So one of the things that we heard about right off the bat was swapping out the intake boot with an FX 450 intake boot. So the 501 has actually a little reed in the intake for the off-road stuff and the street legal stuff. But this, for just purely closed course on the track, we threw that intake boot on it. It's just an OEM part. And then because with the open exhaust, you know, we opened it up for the track and the open intake, then we needed more fuel. So we threw on the JD Jet Power Surge 6X to control the fuel. So we have to, you know, you've got to add more fuel. You've got more air, now you need more fuel. And to be honest, the results are, again, amazing. It makes this thing just bark, and definitely worth doing if you're going to the track. So just to wrap this all up, I am super happy with how this bike turned out. We can't all have 3-4 different bikes. So this bike, I'm able to change it around and just use its built-in versatility. So stock form, it's still a great bike. To make it a trail bike, a good performing aggressive trail bike, the suspension, get it dialed in for how you like it. It works great as a trail bike. Take it one more step. We're gonna go do some desert racing. Crank up the suspension a little bit because the Dick suspension is plenty versatile. He's got enough room in there to go from the slow stuff to the fast stuff. So crank up the suspension a little bit, get some of the lights off of it. You're ready to go desert racing. Take it one more step. Get the fuel right, get the, you know, do your mods, go to the track, open it up, and it performs awesome. I love this bike. If you like this kind of content, make sure and click the link below and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All these parts can be found on our website, RockyMountainATVMC.com. All orders over $75 ship free. And hey, we'll catch you next time.